I want to talk to the people who are entering the workforce, the ones that are coming out of graduation. I want you to imagine that graduation day, the one that you've been working for. You're there, your family's there, your parents are excited about no more loans, and you're coming across that stage. You've got the cap, you've got the gown, you've got it all, and we're going to get 0.5s even. Those are important, my kids tell me. You grab that diploma, and you step down off of that stage into the real world. That's exciting. And what you find is that the career you've been chasing, the job you've been talking about and you've been studying and lurking for, and everything, it has now become nothing more than a prompt in an AI model. This is not a headline from 2030. This is today, and this is tomorrow, and this is the future. This is what you're up against. The CEO of Anthropic, one of the top 5 AI labs, said that in the next 3 to 5 years, there will be a 50% reduction in entry-level white-collar jobs. Half the jobs you're looking for, gone. AI will have replaced those. New grad unemployment currently sits at 9.3%. That is twice the national average. Underemployment is now the norm. 52% of recent graduates are currently working a job that does not require their degree. And compared to January of 2023, there are 35% fewer entry-level job openings. Now, when I look at these statistics, I don't just see numbers. You see, I'm a business owner, I'm an employer, entrepreneur, but I'm a father of 4. So this story is personal to me. I'm living it right along with you. 2 of my kids are still in college, one here at Clemson and should graduate this year. First raise in 8 years I'll get. So I came here to convince you of 2 things. This is real. It's inevitable and it's happening. And second, that you can learn to not only survive this, but to thrive in it and to surf this AI wave into your future. Let me give you an example. No company is going to be excluded from this. Like a tsunami coming up on a small island, everything will be hit. Education. In Austin, Texas, there's a school called the Alpha School. And what they're doing is they're integrating AI inside of their education. They can compress an entire school day of curriculum into just 2 hours. And how do they do that? They're using fully integrated AI apps that work with the kids. And I'm not talking about dry chat bots that are lifeless. I'm talking about apps that are working with the kids and seeing where they are in their mode, their modalities that they like to learn with, the subjects that they enjoy, and tying it to their curriculum. And the teachers, are they gone? No, but they've been reimagined. They call them guides now. And what do? They do what they love. They mentor, they coach, they talk to these kids. They do experiential projects that support their education. And the results are showing that they're learning 2.5 times faster. Education is just the first glimpse. Every industry will need its alpha moment. Companies are going to have to adapt or wither. Employees are going to have to not only embrace change, but constant and continuous change. You see, this career ladder that we used to think about, it's gone. The bottom rungs have been cut out and removed from industry. What you're walking into is going to much more look like this American Ninja Warrior course. Your obstacles will change daily. With every update and every new model, you will get new obstacles. There will be walls, there will be ropes, there will be little spinny wheels, sometimes over water. And what matters most will not be your alma mater, it will not be your resume, it will be nothing about a fixed set of skills. Success will go to those who can learn fast, pivot, and have the resiliency to keep moving forward. In the truest way, adaptability will be your greatest ability. Worst TED Talk ever. There is good news, though. There's a way to make this work for you. What you will see is that there will be no longer a need for companies to hire armies of specialists. These special niche market things, marketing, HR, the different little departments will become agents and different tools and apps. So what you'll be looking for is the rise of the generalist. This is the person who will be able to orchestrate all of the agents, to move them around, to recognize the good problems, and then to sort those problems among the tools and the activities that we have available to us. You see, the specialist will get replaced, but the generalist will be the one directing all of them. So what do you need to do to become this generalist, to be indispensable to these companies? We need to focus on three things. First, you need to learn to talk to your AI. Then you need to start using your AI as a thought partner. And lastly, you need to learn the tools. So when I'm talking about talking to your AI, the average person speaks 130 words per minute and can type about 40 words per minute. My daughters can probably talk 12 times faster than any human being could ever type. But when I'm talking to you about this, it's not the fact that you can speak data in faster. It's that when you're speaking, you're using your natural communication method. You see, you learned to talk long before you learned how to type. And speech is now the language of AI. So I come from construction, and we need to get daily reports from our crews. And sometimes English is not their native language. So the text reports I would get from them would be like, we showed up, we did some stuff, we're gone. That doesn't help me run a company. When we shifted to voice mode, what it allowed them to do was in their native tongue, they could give a running dialogue of everything that had happened that day, deep information. And then the AI could translate it, transcribe it, summarize it, and then send it out to our team. It ends up being the difference in the amount of information I get from a phone call with my daughter versus that forehead Snapchat thing my son sends me. I don't know what that is. You see, to AI, we don't look like people. We're nothing but context, a data cloud. So when you start talking to AI, that's your prompt. But the prompt is what tells it what you want it to do. Context is the field in which they operate in. Context is what allows commands to become collaboration. So when you speak into it, not only can you do it faster, that's great, but you can do more of it. The more data you give it, the more specific it can be. The better its image of you is, the more helpful it can become. And when you start to do this, you really start to talk and reach into the power of AI. Like if you wanted to send a thank you note to one of your professors, I know nobody would do that. But if you did, you would just say, send a thank you note, and a generic thank you note would come out. If instead you said, this is a professor that stayed late with me 3 times this semester, and they worked with me on calculus and finally made it click. And then I realized not only could I do calculus, but I could continue on the career path that I wanted to have, and I could do this. And this is the professor that sparked that in my mind. Send that note. With that sudden influx of context, the AI can write a very heartfelt, very personal letter, but it is still your letter. It is your thoughts, just better articulated. So when I'm talking about using AI as a thought partner, this to me is the biggest shift you need to make. It's the difference between saying I've got Google with a chatbot and I've got a working partner that's helping me. I've got access to every mentor, every coach, all of the historical figures at 24/7, infinitely patient and ready to help me. So when I have AI, you want to use it as a co-pilot. But keep in mind, this is not the pilot. You are in control. AI will help you make better decisions, but it is not the decision maker, and it cannot replace your judgment, but it can give you lots of information around it. Like if you were going to use AI to help you prep for a job interview, which hopefully a lot of you are going to be doing, then you would go in and you'd say, hey, what kind of questions would I be looking for coming into a job interview? And you're going to get some generic questions. But instead, if you fed into the AI and you said, here's the website of the company I'm applying for, here are the officers that I know that are there, here's the job description I'm applying for, here is my resume, here's everything that I did in college. Can you act as an HR manager and interview me one-on-one? Challenge my questions, help me develop better, sharper answers, and what you will end up with is one of the greatest interview prep partners you could ever imagine, who has infinite patience for you to work through the problems. You see, the people that will thrive in this new environment, they will not be the people that have the best answers. They will be the people who know how to ask the best questions. Now, most people just dabble in AI. You know, they got the chat GPT, they ask a question, they get a couple of remarks, and they're excited. They got one app that they use a lot, you know, maybe it checks their grammar or something. And they're like, I use AI, that's great. That's not the real advantage. The real advantage in AI comes when you aggressively and proactively explore and try to find the new apps and the new tools and the new agents and everything that brings you. You want a broad spectrum. You cannot go into battle with one arrow in your quiver. You need a full Swiss Army knife of an infinite number of tools so that you can then build that tool set. And you want to be able to demonstrate that tool set to the people you're applying for jobs with, because it means you're ready. It means that you know what you're going to go into. And this toolkit, as it grows, so grows your value. And that's what you want to do. So once you're doing these things, you're building out that orchestra, all of the instruments are there, you're conversing with the AI, you're collaborating with it, you're now orchestrating intelligence. You know how to direct it. You see, AI will always be the smartest person in the room from this point forward. That job is now taken. But what you want to do is be the one that can focus its power. It has all of this knowledge, but it doesn't know what to work on. And in every industry, in every field, people are going to be needed that know how to direct AI into the right problems. Whether it's sports or medicine or business. You see, AI is the wave. You are the surfer. And your job is to steer the board. All across human history, the entire time, it's been about how fast we could build things. Could we build a tool? Could we build a fire? Could we build a factory? How fast can we get it? That's no longer the case. You see, AI has sped things up so fast that now this is the age of ideas. Whatever you want to build, you can build it. See, AI is leverage, but leverage only works when you have something to multiply or pry against. I mean, 0 times infinity is still 0. AI can do things now that used to take months or even years. And because of this, I think there's been no better time in history for you to launch your own company or to launch your own career. No generation has ever had this degree of access to this depth of knowledge readily available at any given moment. AI has commoditized raw thinking power, the horsepower of knowledge. But your value will be in the spark that you bring it. It will be the ignition to the fuel that AI is. If you bring your acorn, your seed, and you pair it with AI, you can turn that into a grand oak tree overnight. So what I hope you got out of this is that, yes, the AI wave is here. It is real. And it is massive. So you have 2 choices, just like any surfer in the water. You can see the wave coming. You can put your hands in the water, enjoy the view as it raises you and then lowers you down again as it passes you by. Or you can see it, you can turn your board, and you can put in the effort, and you can paddle like all power. And then you can rise up and catch this wave and ride it into the future. So the question is, what are you going to do? I would paddle.